Hello YouTube land, this is Cigar Clowns again. I'm Professor P, this is Senior Biggs, and thank you for coming back to our second, what's that?
McBiggs.
I didn't get your name right?
No, you didn't.
Senior McBiggs. He likes, like at McDonald's. Okay, so welcome back to our show, and we want to talk today about cigar lingo. We're going to be talking about different things such as cigar sizes, ring gauge, anatomy of a cigar, the different types of tobacco, where they're grown, where they're cultivated, some of the characteristics with those types of tobaccos. So we'll start off first with size.
Okay, there are a number of classifications for cigars, but the four that you're going to pretty much come in contact with most are starting from the longest to the shortest is going to be the Presidente or Lancero at 7 to 7.5 inches, the Churchill at 6 to 7 inches, the Toro at 6 to 6.5, and the Robusto at 4.5 to 5. Now, when you're smoking a cigar, you can have the same cigar in all different sizes, and they're going to have different flavors. They're going to have different tastes, because the longer the cigar, the more mellow the flavor becomes, because it has all that tobacco to filter through. The Robusto is going to be your strongest because it is the shortest, where the Churchill or and the Presidente are going to be the most mellow of them all.
And on top of that, longer cigars, thicker gauge cigars tend to have a slower burn, they're cooler burn. And so talking about ring gauge, what does that mean? Cigars have a ring gauge. It's going to be a number. It's going to be anywhere from the 20s to usually a 64. There are cigars that are bigger, but when you look at what the ring gauge actually means, 64 is 1 inch. So if you have a ring gauge of 64, you've got a cigar that's 1 inch in diameter. If you have a ring gauge of 32, you have a cigar that's a ½ inch in diameter.
As far as the way the cigars are constructed, you have
the wrapper.
The wrapper. The wrapper is where you're going to get almost all your flavor. And we have 3 different varieties here. We have what is called the Connecticut, which is going to be your milder, one of the mildest cigars that you're going to have normally. I should say normally. The next one is going to be the Habano. It's a little darker, a little bit more robust. I happen to like the Habano. It's a very good flavorful cigar. The last one we're going to show is the Maduro. This is going to be one of the strongest cigars that in flavor that you're going to have.
I'll say that again.
It's going to be one of the strongest flavors.
Well, saying that is kind of how people view it. That a lot of times you'll hear the lighter the wrapper, the weaker the cigar, the less strong the cigar is, and in a lot of cases that is true. But that's not 100% absolutely true, because you can have a Maduro wrapper, and I don't know if you can see here on the video, but you can see 3 different shades. The Connecticut, in the middle is the Habano, and on the right side here, on my right side, you have the Maduro. It's very possible to have Maduros that are very mild. It's also possible to have Connecticut's that are strong.
That is true, huh?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily the color that dictates. It's a good, I guess maybe a good rule of thumb to look at it that way, but it's not an absolute. So don't let the color of the wrapper or the type of wrapper fool you. Let's get into packaging and how we buy cigars. Cigars, you can buy them at any brick and mortar cigar lounge. You can buy them at any type of humidor. You can also buy, there's various sites online where you can order from. Purchasing cigars, especially if you're buying them in a humidor or a local cigar shop, you can buy them in singles, and you'll get them in price anywhere from $5 to and it just goes up. But the average range for, I would say, a normal cigar ranges between $5 to $15. You can also get sampler packs if you order online. There's various companies out there that you can go online and you can just research it. And every one of these companies, they sell sample packs. If you They can also do it by strength, or they can do it by brand. But let's say you're a beginner smoker and you want a mild sampler pack. They'll pack 5 to 10 different cigars in there, and they'll ship it to you, and you get it at a pretty good price. You can also, by ordering online or in a brick and mortar cigar shop, you can also get a box. If you have a cigar that you just have fallen in love with and you like it, and it's just something you want to smoke on a regular basis, of course you could get a box. And when you get a box, you're looking at 20, sometimes even up to 40. I've seen them as much as 100 of the same cigar. Myself, personally speaking, I like a bunch of different cigars, so I like to get samplers. I like to try different varieties. There's not one in particular that I like to smoke just on an everyday basis.
I have come across one that I really, really enjoy. It's called the Victor Sinclair. I have yet to find a Victor Sinclair that I did not like. But it was just by chance that I found this one, and it was really a very mild, good tasting cigar. But again, I'm more the exception than the rule for a beginner cigar smoker. I'm more considered a novice because of my short time of trying to smoke cigars. And one of the things that you're going to find when you're really starting out for the first time is you're going to pick up a lot of the strong flavors. The first thing you will most likely find smoking a cigar is you'll pick up like a real strong coffee taste, or a real strong earthy taste, and woods. But as your palate develops, you'll start picking up the nuances in the background that you hadn't noticed before, and it's a brand. Once you get that very first nuance that you hadn't seen before, it's like a whole different world has opened up for you.
That's right. A lot of cigars have you'll. If you're beginning, it's your first, second, third cigar, you're going to taste smoke, and you're going to taste, you may not even really be able to distinguish what taste you're tasting. You just know you have cigar smoke in your mouth. As you smoke, and as he said, as your palate develops, you are going to start picking up subtle hints of different flavors. For example, you could pick up sweetness, you could pick up citrusy flavors, you can pick up cookies and milk, cherry. There's a wide range of different flavors that you can pick up on as your palate develops. Let's talk about anatomy. Not our anatomy, but anatomy of a cigar.
Okay. Well, the first thing that you're going to see, and we've shown before, is the wrapper, which is the outer casing of the cigar. As I said before, that's where most of the flavor is going to be coming from. Next, you're going to see is the binder, and this is the foot of the cigar. So the binder is it's the wrapper that's just underneath the outer wrapper, and it's most likely made of the same tobacco as the wrapper, but it's not as pretty. Then you have the filler, which is all the tobacco that's rolled up inside. You have the neck, and
on the tobacco inside, on the body of the cigar, you have long filler and you have short filler. And the difference of the two, long filler is just, it's one type of tobacco that's longer strands. Most of your premium hand-rolled cigars are going to be long filler cigars. Your short filler cigars, they're going to be, it's usually scraps, it's leftovers. I don't mean scraps in a bad way, but it's leftover tobacco, it's chopped up, and it's pressed into a filler. A lot of cigar aficionados will tell you they prefer long filler versus short filler. Short filler in itself, though, don't necessarily sell yourself short, because there are some good premium cigars that use short filler out there. Tobaccos, now let's talk about where tobaccos are grown at. There's 10 countries, they're probably growing more, but there's 10 countries where cigar tobacco is grown primarily, and it's recognized worldwide as having quality tobacco. First is, of course, Cuba. Cuba has by far the most premium, top of the line tobacco you're going to find. The only problem is things may be changing now, but for years there's been an embargo between the United States and Cuba, and you just haven't been able to legally get Cuban cigars in the United States.
But if you want a cigar that is as close to Cuba as you can get, the Dominican Republic, which is just basically stone's throw away from Cuba, and where a lot of the Cuban refugees, when they left Cuba in '59, went to, and they started growing tobacco there. Dominican Republic tobacco tends to be light and smooth. It's one of my favorites,
This should be a favor for anybody who's starting out, because again, it's a light flavor, it's a smooth flavor, it's not too harsh.
And then next you're going to have the next on the list is Nicaragua. Nicaragua was another
A lot of former refugees.
A mecca for a lot of the refugees that were fleeing the communist power. Nicaraguans tend to be a little bit more powerful, a little bit more spicy because of the ground that they're growing in. As is Honduras, which is basically right next door. Going to be dark, strong, a little earthy. What do you think?
Well, that's right. In Ecuador tobacco is known for its spice. Mexico has high quality tobacco. It's also a dark tobacco, and it's used a lot for Maduro wrappers. Brazil, down in South America, very strong and dark as well. The USA, right here in the United States, our tobacco is known to be kind of more mild, kind of a creamy, smooth type tobacco. You have Jamaican tobacco, which is mild and sweet. And then last you have Cameroon, which is a little country in Africa, and it's sweet and smooth. Cameroon tobacco is very rare. It's probably going to be a little pricey when you find it, but I think the sweetness that you're going to find and the smoothness you're going to find is worth the price. So getting into flavor, now we've talked about all of these different tobaccos. You've heard him say that the wrapper is primarily where the flavor is. When you purchase a cigar, sometimes you'll find that the wrapper, the binder, and the filler are all from different countries, and that's what makes the taste for cigar smoking so unique. You have all of these different types of tobaccos that are grown all over the world, and they're expertly blended and mixed into a cigar, and that's what produces all of these nuances that we discussed earlier. The fineness of the tobacco, the nuances, the flavor that you get out of it. And the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about, and it kind of goes back to ring gauge, what we were talking about a minute ago, how it blends with flavor. You may see people, and this was a mistake that some people make, they want the bigger ring gauges, and a lot of times they're going to think that that's the best cigar. Well, as the majority of the flavor is going to come from the wrapper, a big, thick ring gauge cigar, you may find that you're going to get the flavor of the wrapper overpowered by the filler itself. If you have say for example, a short filler, maybe not that great a quality cigar, you may have a very good wrapper, but if it's a thick ring gauge, that short filler is going to overpower the flavor of the wrapper. Bigger ring gauges do burn cooler, and they burn. It's a slower burn, but again, I'm not trying to discourage or talk bad about thick ring gauges. Some of them I've had are very, very good, but just be cautious of that. If you're just starting out, I would start with a smaller ring gauge and kind of work your way up. And the last thing I want to talk about is just We talk about strength, we talk about flavor, we talk about size, ring gauge, all of these things. All we can tell you is what we've experienced and what works for us as individuals. Bottom line is, though, more than anything, armed with all this new knowledge that we just gave you, try it. Try different cigars. Don't limit yourself to one. And if you find one you don't like, try it again, because sometimes if you've eaten something or drank something before, that can have an effect on your palate. Now, there are cigars that I just flat, I've tried them and I don't like. I've given them to him and he loves them, and vice versa. So don't just take our advice. We want you to experiment and try different
That's
cigars.
right. Also, if you've tried a cigar that you don't like, try it in a different size, because as I said before, the cigars will have a different flavor in different sizes. They'll have the same basic flavor, but they'll mellow out the longer they are.
That's right.
And as far as the countries and the tastes that we demonstrated on this video, doesn't mean that these are the only ones that are out there.
Right.
There's a lot of tobacco that's grown in the Pacific, Indonesia, what's that other one? Asia. I mean, just because we didn't list it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Or that it's bad.
Or that it's bad.
This is just the more common.
These are the top 10 that you'll find. So, think of a cigar as a concert. Everything has to be in harmony to get a good experience. As he said, you could have a good wrapper and bad filler. Vice versa, you could have great filler but a lousy wrapper. And one sour note can wreck the symphony. But as he said, give it a try. Try a cigar at least 3 times before you actually say, no, I do not like it, I don't want to try it again.
Right.
So, as he said, if we, armed with this new knowledge, give them a try. And when all else fails and you just don't know, ask someone at the humidor or wherever you're buying your cigars. Ask them. They love to be asked questions. They want to help you.
And you will find they're very, very knowledgeable. They're very, very helpful. I'm not ashamed to say that on many occasions, in fact, even still today when I go to a humidor, as I said, I like trying new cigars. So I will always ask, what's a medium to mild or even a medium to full cigar? And I look at price range, I look at the appearance of the cigar, the smell of the cigar, all of these things I take into account. And like I say, I've only had a couple that I really don't like, but by and large, almost every cigar I've had, I've really, really enjoyed. And I think you have similar experience.
I have had very similar experiences. I've had cigars that I just will not try ever again, and then I have those that I really, really enjoy. So, just experiment. I mean, this is a grand adventure.
Have fun with it.
Have fun with it. Play with it. And I hope y'all have a great day.
I do too, and thanks for watching. If you come back for our next episode, we're going to be talking about how to properly cut or punch a cigar and then how to light it. And as we progress through these series, we're going to be taking individual cigars and we're going to be rating them on strength, we're going to be rating them on price, we're going to be rating them on appearance, on taste, and you'll have both of our opinions, whether good, bad, in the middle, or whatever. Also, folks, if you would, log on to Facebook, like us on Facebook, and you'll find us at Cigar Clowns on Facebook. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.